Babcock County Park is a few acres on the shore of Lake Wabisa at the outflow of the Yahara River, tucked between an island with some houses and U.S. Highway 51. The park is broken into two parts, a main camping and recreation area, and a boat launch just down the street. Really? This isn't exactly the same script as last week? No, I guess not. Unlike last week's, this boat launch is actually big enough for trailers and such. The park also offers a fish cleaning facility and a handicap-accessible fishing pier. The main part of the park is just as complete, featuring a paved path running the length of the park along the water, real flushing toilets, and nice camping amenities that I'll get to in a minute. I'm working on borrowing a drone from the college so I can get some nice aerial establishing shots. Until then, I think I can recreate the drone effect for this episode. Google Maps has a pretty good 3D mode now, so I'll just use that, and some footage of someone else's drone taking off, overlay that with some drone noises just to add some realism. Let's see what that looks like. The park is named for Stephen Moulton Babcock, a nutritional scientist whose name you might know if you live in Madison and have an affinity for ice cream, or mustaches. We don't have time to go into his numerous accomplishments, so I'll link his Wikipedia page in the description down below. Just know that he was a UW-Madison professor and researcher, and that it's largely thanks to his work that Wisconsin became a leader in the dairy industry. So what does this have to do with Lake Wabisa, you ask? Not much. As far as I can tell, Babcock never lived in McFarland. He was born in upstate New York, moved to Madison when he got a job with the UW, and then lived in Madison until his death. So Babcock Park's connection to the name is tenuous at best. I think the park opened soon after he died, so it made sense at the time to pay tribute to him in any way possible, but 86 years after his death, it's kind of up to us to make our own meaning. So, here's mine. In his time, Stephen Babcock was one of the most recognizable symbols of Wisconsin as the dairy state. If you knew anything about dairy, you knew his face. Now, Babcock Park is neighbored by one of the current most nationally recognized symbols of Wisconsin's dairy prowess, other than the Green Bay Packers. That's right, there's a Culver's right across the street. It does a disservice to the park to judge it against a true wilderness camping experience. Babcock Park was never meant for that. After all, U.S. Highway 51 is a busy vehicular pipeline carrying cars all the way from the UP to New Orleans. It's unrealistic to expect perfect peace and quiet here. Instead, judge the park as a sort of discount hotel, and it starts to become much more appealing. As I was lining up one of my shots for this episode, a man approached me and introduced himself as the camp host. He and I never exchanged names, but I read this sign later, so I'll assume from here on out that I was talking to Tom. He didn't look much like a Mary Lou. Tom told me that Babcock Park plays host to all sorts of people. Some only stay a night. They use the park as a stopover on the way to bigger and better parks. Some use the park for lodging when visiting Madison itself. Evidently, the campsites fill up pretty quickly when people drive in to see their relatives for UW graduation day. Some people simply use the place to test out a newly purchased RV. Whatever the case, it makes sense that the park stays busy. It's easily the most convenient campground in Dane County. Sure, a few other places offer similar camping. Mendota and Token Creek County Parks immediately come to mind. For a few more dollars per night, you could also stay at Lake Kaganza State Park or a few private campgrounds. However, some of those campgrounds won't have running water in their bathrooms, and none of those campgrounds have a pick and save just down the street. That's right. Not only is there a nice selection of restaurants within walking distance, there's also a full grocery store and 2 pharmacies, one of which is a Walgreens, open till the relatively late hour of 10 p.m. All of this gives a camper a lot of peace of mind. If you forget anything while packing, odds are you'll be able to pick up what you need when you arrive. But it's not just what's outside the park that will make a camper feel well taken care of. All 25 sites have a nice new metal picnic table, a fire ring, and full electricity. The main building has a handicap-accessible bathroom and shower, with fully processed city-quality running water. The campground sells locally sourced firewood to prevent the spread of emerald ash borers. Of course, the grounds include a dumping station for RV waste. There's also a big shaded field, great for picnics, and the playground is modern and bigger than average. One last perk: if you bring your boat and plan to stay a few days, there's no need to haul it in and out of the water every time. The park provides a dock for overnight guests to use, free of charge. The fact that all of this can be had for $27 a night is enough to make some reconsider regular hotels. If you want a place to stay near Madison that's the perfect blend of camping with convenience, Babcock County Park is hard to beat. Check the description down below for more information, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more parks and landmarks every week.